Yes, I just wanted to share a testimony. I met some Christian people last Saturday who actually came to buy some product off me. And as most of you know, I have a banner up on my front fence which says something to the effect, the world needs a righteous, immortal, infallible dictator. Jesus Christ is all of these. And it attracts various comments sort of over the years. But anyway, this particular chap came last Saturday and he says, "Oh, I saw your sign. Yeah, that's awesome." So obviously turned out he was a Christian, and we got chatting about stuff, and he was there with his wife, probably a chap I'd say about my age, 21. No, probably 60 odd. So he's there with his wife and his mother. She probably, I don't know, maybe late 70s, 80, quite sprightly lady. And we had to cut up some timber, and I said to him, "Well, listen, while we're cutting up the timber, would you ladies like to go up to the house with my wife Janet, have a cup of tea while we're doing this?" So they did that. So we finished chopping up the wood, and we went up to the house, and we just continued sort of chatting and about Christian things, and they're quite fervent about it. So that was really good. So anyway, they bought some more product off me during the week, so they came back again yesterday, and I said, "Listen, why don't you come about 10 a.m. and we can have some morning tea for you, have a bit of a chat." So anyway, we came, finished doing the product thing, and sat down, had our morning tea, and we were chatting. And anyway, his mother started sharing a bit about her life, and just an incredible hardship that she'd sort of been through. And I mean, at age 13, she'd been sort of sexually abused by a family member. She actually had her first child at 13, to another person. I think that ended up becoming her husband. But anyway, had sort of some other children. And anyway, this husband that she ended up marrying used to go out, get drunk, come home, beat her up, like literally beat her black and blue. And she was sort of sharing this. And anyway, one particular time she had a couple of sons, one of which was the chap who came to buy my product. When they were aged 10 and 12, so you're going back, 45 years maybe, their father came home drunk once and was starting to beat their mother. And at age 10 and 12, they decided to do something about it. So they both accosted their father and actually beat him up to keep him off their mother. I mean, that sort of trauma for a 10 or 12-year-old, let alone their mother. And anyway, the next day, this father, like that, became a major turning point. He threw away his cigarettes, he stopped drinking, and changed his life, and later on actually became a Christian as well. And I thought, wow, that's an amazing testimony, of this woman. And anyway, I said to her, "So, you've been through a lot of trauma, being sexually molested, beaten up, by your husband, all of that sort of thing. Um, you know, would you say that you love God?" And of course, yeah, I knew what she was going to say, but I just wanted to hear her say, "Of course, He's my everything." And we started sort of chatting. How is it that you can say you love God after having been through all that? And she just said, God's in everything. He works through everything. And I got to admit, it sort of brought me to tears as she was sharing this, because it brings everything of your own life into perspective when you see someone like that, at that age has been through so much, and yet can come through the other end and still say, "I love God. He's my everything." Because you meet people on the flip side of that who have been through bad times or trauma, and they'll use that as a excuse or a reason, whichever way you want to look at it, for either not believing in God at all, or certainly not serving God. And yet here's a woman who's been through all that, and she could still say, I love God. And, it's just sort of amazing. And I thought I'd sort of share that with you. And when they left yesterday, he actually sent me a message just saying how much they'd enjoyed meeting us. And he said, my mother rarely opens up like she did to you today, about what she's been through. So, I felt sort of quite honoured about that she was, happy to share that testimony because, yeah, God brings you through things like that. But we all know by experience, things scar you, the hurt doesn't necessarily all go away. But I just thought, for anybody that's had similar trauma or even maybe not so bad trauma, but it's still affecting you, there's a way. God has a way. His spirit is amazing. And I think that woman is true testimony to that. And obviously, they're very fervent Christians. We enjoyed meeting them. They enjoyed meeting us. And we also got talking about tithing because he'd seen his way clear of the whole tithing thing. And I said, listen, I've got a booklet on that. So I gave him my booklet on tithing, creation versus evolution, biblical baptism, and biblical praise, as well as Barry's booklet on the science and the Bible, and also the remarkable witness of the Jews. And they're right on board with all that, loved it. And it was funny because I gave them these 6 little booklets, and between them, they were sort of competing about who would be able to take which booklet first. So they ended up sort of dividing them up amongst mum and the husband and wife. So anyway, I think also I've laid a bit of a platform of an area where we agree on, these subjects, and hopefully next time we meet, I'd like to sort of share with them a little bit more about the truths we believe, like the kingdom of God on earth and that sort of thing. So pray for that there might be an opening there, because at one stage he said to me, "Oh, are you a pastor?" I said, "No, I'm an elder in our church, not the pastor." But the truth is in the Bible, bishop, elder, pastor, shepherd, leader, that they're all really synonymous terms. But I sort of share with him that our pastor has been the pastor of our church for sort of 48 years. He started the church. We have no paid ministry, which we're very sort of proud about. We believe that's biblical. And yeah, he was sort of right on board with all that. So, he was saying, listen, God meant us to meet, all that. So yeah, it was just one of those great times to sort of meet people that God brings about. I got ministered to, they got ministered to, and hopefully moving forward, we can be of more benefit to each other. So I thought I'd just share that with you guys and just ask that you would continue to pray for them. I just won't mention their names, just out of the mother's privacy for what I've shared. But if you just pray for them, thank you.